This is, today is what, Thursday? October 31st, Halloween. This is the bonus video for the regular class for today, or my advanced kids could watch, although the quiz is not quite the same. My goal is to try and get you guys ready for the quiz. I'm going to walk you through. So I went through and sort of created questions that are just like the questions for tomorrow with slightly different wording. So I can sort of walk you through it, so hopefully this will get you guys ready for tomorrow's quiz. Pay attention here, it'll help you do well. At least that's my theory. So the first question, what two nouns are being compared in this simile? When it says, my mean younger brother is like an angry beaver attacking a log. So that's one of the things we're going to have you guys do, is when we do the similes and metaphors, finding my two nouns that are going to be in there. What is the first noun being compared?
Brother.
I said, any of you we have?
Brother.
Nicely done. Second one is?
Beaver.
Beaver.
It's like an angry beaver. Nicely done. So, actually, well done all around on that one. The most I can try to do is throw you guys off, because I will throw stuff in like adjectives, where it has mean younger brother, and I'll throw in other random nouns, but a lot of it will just come down to figuring out what the simile is talking about, taking a moment to think your way through to figure out what two nouns are actually being compared. It's like the log is not being compared. Looking at the past similes and metaphors on the quizzes, a lot of times it looks like kids just randomly pick out a noun without actually reading what it's saying. But there it's saying brother is like a beaver. Pick out beaver, pick out brother, make sure you have one word each, you should be good to go. Why are the two nouns being compared in this metaphor? This was one we struggled on before. A lot of the similes and metaphors they're going to make you guys do is where they're going to give you a simile or metaphor, then you have to figure out why the author is making that comparison. That turtle was like a rock when I tried to angrily kick after I tripped. I tried to angrily kick it. Should be after, right? From there. So there's a number of reasons why you could probably compare the two of them, but only one that makes the most sense for why you're comparing. Let's back up. What two nouns are being compared?
Turtle and rock.
Turtle and a rock.
I hope you know.
So why are we comparing the turtle to a rock? What do those two things have in
They're
common?
hard.
So the fact that they are both things that are hard. So that's what I'm looking for you to be able to figure out in there. If you were to put like round, that'd probably give you one of the 2 points. Because if I wanted round, I would have said something along the lines of a ball. So figure out why the author is picking those things.
Hey,
could you...
What if you did like they're both not moving?
I'd probably give you one of the 2 points. Because again, you're at least finding something that the reason why they're being compared, but it's not the best reason.
Can you put heavy?
And here's part of the issue that we found out on the iLearn. On the iLearn test, and the reason that kids didn't do well on it, they give you a lot of ones where there's multiple answers, but they always want the best answer. And that's where we're trying to get you guys to go to. Like, you're right, that is an answer that can work, but they want to push you to go for the best answer. And yeah, the problem is, it's an opinion. I agree. The issue is, iLearn doesn't care. And so I have to just try to get you guys to aim that way. I care too, but I'm just trying to make you guys better. Kirby?
Would you give half points if I said it was heavy?
Ew.
If they were both heavy?
You don't know
Yep,
if it's
I'd probably
heavy.
give you one of the
You
2
don't know
points.
if a turtle
Because
is
again,
heavy.
that makes sense. It's just probably not the best reason. Yes.
I hope you know it's a simile. It uses like.
It doesn't just because he uses a pipe.
Ooh, that should be a simile. You're correct. Should not be metaphor.
Wow, he's
I know.
right.
I know.
I'm
Delaney.
using
You should
wrong.
get B
Answer
points.
again?
What's that?
What was the answer again?
What's the answer on this one?
Yeah.
I'm asking the class. Why are we comparing those two things?
Because
They're both.
they're
both
upside
heavy.
down.
They're both hard. Now, how can a rock be upside down?
It's just like saying, how can a turtle be upside down?
It has
Exactly.
legs.
A rock could have
Rocks
legs.
have legs.
When you have to think it through like that,
Yes,
that's
they
when
do.
we're starting to have issues.
Oh,
3. What verbs shows action? Show action in this sentence. I was struggling on this. The hilarious little trash panda picked up a gun and jumped on the tree man's back.
Picked.
So first off, we have only 2 verbs in the sentence. What are the 2 verbs in the sentence? Picked and jumped. So which ones show action? Elijah.
When he picked up the gun.
Right, that's multiple words.
He went. He picked up or picked.
There you go. Picked shows action. Does jump show action?
Yes.
So what would be your two answers?
Picked and jumped.
So on
But
those, it's going to be a
hilarious.
matter of going through and figuring out which ones show action.
Oh wait, never mind.
Yeah.
Are these actual questions, like word for word on?
No, I took the actual questions and then changed the words. So that's why I figured if you understand how this one works, when you get to the question on the quiz, you should be able to figure it out from that. Like I tried to set up as close as I could to the same thing. London?
Are they all in order?
That I don't remember. Aiden,
So it could be like and leaped, but is jumped now.
something along those lines.
All right, I got that.
Which of the following is the weakest example of alliteration? This goes back to that whole opinion bit, so we need to figure out what things go together. So which of the following is the weakest example of alliteration? A big bouncing baby boy, a small silly insect, I do jumping jacks to wake up in the morning, make me angry and I will slap, slap, slap you until you cry. Well, first off, what's alliteration?
Like the
Slap, slap, slap.
first
That's a
word,
model,
like
model.
the letter thingy.
The repetition of the same sound over and over again. Do all four of these have alliteration?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
The third one doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it
I-
does.
Oh,
He jumps up and down.
The third
Jumping.
one?
Then hang on.
Jack.
To prove hot or wrong, is there going to, do you say there is alliteration in the third one? What's the alliteration there?
Jumping.
jacks.
I would agree. Jumping jacks would count.
Wait, but isn't that one? Wait, never mind.
Alright. Ashlyn? So, oh, hang on. In the first one, what is your alliteration in a big bouncing baby boy?
Bouncing.
That's one word.
Or big bouncy.
That's two words.
Big bouncy baby.
Okay, that's three words.
Big bouncy baby boy.
Good job. So you have 4 words in a row. The second one. What are your words that are in alliteration?
Small silly.
Nicely done. Third one.
Jumping jacks.
And the last one?
Slap, slap,
Slap, slap,
So
slap.
one of those is a bad example of alliteration.
Slaps.
Which
No,
one is
that
your
was
bad
the one.
alliteration?
Ow.
Nicole?
Slap, slap, slap is the same word over again.
Nicely done. So when you do the slap, 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 that would be your example of a bad alliteration. That's what I'm going to give you one very similar to that on the quiz. We are going to have one that has that bad example of alliteration as you go through it. Sophia?
So there was something like that in the caterpillar poem? Was that in the caterpillar?
Correct.
Not good.
That line in there where it says, I will eat, 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 that would be an example of bad alliteration.
Wait, I have a question.
You are
I
correct.
eat a lot.
Yes.
So it can't say the same thing over and over.
It can, and technically it is alliteration. It is just weak alliteration. And that's why, like, technically it counts. It's just the weakest of the ones up there. 5. From that nonfiction thing we did, from the nonfiction social media article, what event caused the school district to decide to start using the geo-listening originally? This is the part where you have to actually go back and know why they started doing it. So you have 2 recent suicides at local schools, kids getting onto Facebook at school, students getting bullied in the classrooms, the recent rise of drug use among teens. In theory, this one's a little bit easier because not all of those even were in the article. But some of them were, but only one of them actually caused our particular issue. Juanita? That's great. Back in the thing, it talked about the fact that that was why they first started wanting to do it, because kids committed suicide. Kids weren't coming forward and saying anything. They wanted to try and help them. So it was the 2 recent suicides. Kids getting onto Facebook at school
Wasn't even on.
wasn't even in there. Students getting bullied in the classrooms,
Not even on.
not even in the article. The recent rise of drug use among teens,
That was on there.
that was not on there either. So none of the other ones were even in the article. It was just a matter of seeing whether you had to go back and take a look.
I think it was.
Yeah.
The drug?
No. Yeah, it was.
No, what they talked about was back there. Now, that's where it goes back. They mention drugs in there,
Yeah.
and they say that they are scanning
Oh,
for
yeah.
drug use, but it never
Oh.
talks about that. And that's, again, because that's something that iLearn does. They pick, like, random words and then put it in the answer to see if kids just grab them. 6. Which of the following is a good example of an opinion from the social media article? Students only found out about it through social media. The program will flag hate speech, racism, and bullying. No student has been disciplined for social media posts. I know why schools do this, but I don't think it's right that it's happening. Or none of those are an opinion. I'm trying to trick you.
Sorry.
Well, first off, once again, know your difference between opinion and fact. So one of these cannot be proven, and it is just that opinion thing in there. Aiden?
4.
I know why schools do this, but I don't think it's right that it's happening. Why do you say that one?
Because it's an opinion. Or you saying how?
What makes you think that's an opinion as opposed to the other ones?
It's easy saying I.
Yeah,
It does say I, but that's not always proof of an opinion. I mean, you can have like, I am wearing an orange shirt is not an opinion. That would be a fact. But you're on the right track. Delaney? None of the above aren't opinions. You're saying all of those are facts? Let's find out in a second then. You have a reason why? I like your confidence.
No.
Nicole? By the way, those of you who keep standing up, even if I ignore you because it's mildly irritating, I see you. I'm not blind. I'm old. Nicole?
I think it's number 4 because it says I don't think it's.
That would be the evidence I would go for. When it uses the words think, that's what implies your opinion. So not just the I, but the fact that using the think, that's the stuff to look for. Students only found out about it through social media. That you can go back in there and prove. It flagged as hate speech. They talk about that being a thing you can prove. No student has been disciplined for social media. They mentioned that also. So the first 3 were actual facts in there. But looking for stuff like that, those are going to be your red flags. Look for things that say think. That'll prove it's an opinion. For the poem Mayday, this is going to require your little handout on there. There's a poem called Mayday, which is on, let's see. It's not.
There's not.
Ah, here it is. I thought it was on your paper. It's in front of me here. So here, you have to figure out the rhyme scheme for the first 8 lines, which is the first 2 stanzas of it. Well, we already know what letter does it begin with.
A.
Nice one. Everyone always begins with A. So you have... All right. So A, does air rhyme?
No. B.
So you guess what letter?
B.
B.
C.
Earth?
C.
Correct.
B.
Where?
B.
It's correct. So you have A, B, C, B. Right?
D.
A, B, C,
I thought you said
B.
D. B. B.
So you're saying where and air don't rhyme?
Oh, wait, yes.
Okay.
B.
So A, B, C, B. Maple?
D. No, D.
D. Hand?
E.
I would agree. Does not rhyme with anything. E. Communion?
F.
F and...
G. No. E. E.
So nice and done. It's hard not seeing the letters. That's my fault. I should put them all in there.
No,
But I would
I
agree.
can see by
Because you have hand and stand, and he can't because I have glasses on. I'll give him legit on that.
I didn't know.
8.
Nice.
In Caterpillar. What is the best evidence that the rook is not a frog? So that's the one where it says the... Where's the rook line? Down beneath grow dandelions, daisies, old man's looking glasses. This is in the second stanza. Rooks flap croaking across the lane. I eat and swallow and eat again. In that stanza, there is proof that you could say that it is not a frog. How would you prove that? Oh, Violet.
Flat.
Nicely done. And why does that prove it?
Because we have food.
Nicely done. Or I could ask, what evidence could you use to support it being a frog? What would you say then? Elijah?
It's croaking.
The croaking. And so I'd say make sure you can find the evidence that connects. The flap, I'd say would prove it's not. Croaking you could try to use to support the evidence that it is. What 2 nouns are being compared in the simile? The awful pain in my tummy the day after Halloween was like an attack by a herd of one-armed babies on my gut. I tried to make this one tough by throwing a whole bunch of words in there. So you had to sort of cut it down to figure out what are the 2 nouns being compared, and then making sure you're just doing nouns and not anything else. Delaney?
Tummy and babies.
So you're comparing your tummy to a baby.
Oh, yeah.
You got half of that correct. You're on the right track. It's not the tummy that's being compared to a baby. We're comparing something else to a baby.
Pain?
Is correct. So in that one, you're comparing the pain is being compared. Wait, no,
Baby. No.
not being compared to a baby either.
I got it.
You have pain is now correct, but baby's incorrect.
Please. Herd?
Closer. That's the collection of them.
Attack?
That's the thing you're going for, and that's where it gets
How is...
because you're basically comparing a pain to an attack.
But that's the same thing, kind of. That's sort of the same thing.
How so?
Because an attack...
Babies
No,
aren't
you
attack
can
with
get
life.
pain.
You can get from it. It doesn't make it the same thing. It means, yes, they can be connected, but yeah. And on that one, unfortunately, those big, long ones, a lot of it just comes down to practice. And if you saw that right away, then the practice works out for you. But a lot of times, it's just cutting out all the things and figuring out what are those 2 nouns being compared. The best evidence from the poem 1 of the 7 to prove that the speaker does not hate the girl. So going back to 1 of the 7 has someone to say. there is evidence that you could use to say that he does not hate her. Nash?
Because they said, I don't want to hurt her feelings.
Perfect. So that one line that goes in there about not wanting to hurt feelings, if you don't want to hurt feelings, it means, and again, what does he hate?
They're cleaning.
What
Her
she-
cleaning.
the
Her cleaning.
What she
Cleaning
does.
and what she does not hate her. And that becomes that making sure you can separate the difference on those. 11, which the following similes would, this one's going to require a bit more thinking also. None of these exist in the poem Caterpillar. One of them could work in that poem, from how you understand it. So which of these could have been in that poem? He was as brave as a bear staring down a hunter. The caterpillar was as scared as a little girl at night. The rain knocked him off the leaf like a sledgehammer. The caterpillar was a crazy little eating machine. Before you do it, does number 1 work?
Yes.
Is it a simile or metaphor?
Simile.
All right. And is he brave?
Brave. Yes.
Is
Yes.
he brave in the poem?
Yes. Yes.
So this one could work.
False.
The caterpillar was as scared as a little girl at night.
No, that's false.
Is it a simile?
It's a simile.
Why would it not work?
Because he was never scared. He was always brave.
I would agree. He was
And
never
you're
scared in the
smart.
poem. He was brave in there. The rain knocked him off the leaf like a sledgehammer.
That would work because it's a simile, and it got knocked. It almost knocked him off the leaf, but it didn't. So it
No,
no.
it didn't. He
So
never
it's
said
no.
that.
They never
So-
said it.
It is
I
a
know, that's why
simile.
I'm saying no.
Does he get knocked off?
No.
So would that one work?
No.
The caterpillar was a crazy little eating machine.
Yeah.
That's true, but it's a metaphor.
It is true, but what's the problem with it?
It's a metaphor.
And you have to make sure you're looking for a simile. So don't let me trick you with those. Where it says simile, you're like, oh, definitely true. That one, but it's a metaphor, not simile. So only one of them is both true and a simile, and that's your first one. Last question. Which of the following statements is false? And this just goes back to your overall understanding and thinking through. First line of every rhyme scheme starts with A. The caterpillar ignored danger so he could eat. The last line of 1 of 7 is a good simile. Or line 2 of caterpillar has good alliteration in it. Let me double check, so hang on. Line 2 of caterpillar says, a creeping colored caterpillar. Is that good alliteration?
Yes.
So what is your alliteration in that one?
Creepy colored caterpillar.
So that one will be true. The last line of 1 of 7 says, and things can gradually slip back to normal.
No, that's a metaphor, so it's not a simile.
And things can
No,
gradually...
it's not even both of them. So
Nicely done. Did the caterpillar ignore danger?
yes.
So that would be true. And what does every rhyme scheme begin with?
A.
A. So which one of those is false?
Number 3.
Number 3.
So on this one, the way I try to make it tricky is by making you have to go back and look in the poem to figure out the answer. You have to actually go back to 1 of the 7, read that line, and then figure out if it's similar metaphor, if it's a good example, and then same thing with that one. If you go back and look at them, it's pretty easy. Because you can go back and look at it, and the last line of 1 of the 7 isn't even close to being a simile. So you're like, oh, obviously that was a false one. I'm just banking on most kids being lazy and not going back to look at it. If you go back and look at it, then it makes things easier. That's pretty much the entire quiz when you guys take it tomorrow. If I walk you through it. So, by the way, if that feels easy, that's how all of my quizzes have been. Once we go, oh, don't you keep... Once you go through and take time and look at them,
Yeah, but the thing
it's
is, you have to
pretty
take
much the
time
same
to
thing. My goal is, the next time we do one of these quizzes, I'll do another one of these reviews to try and help you guys out. Well, back up. If this works, I figure we'll check grades tomorrow, and if you guys rock it tomorrow and end up like getting all A's on it, then something went well, and I'll try and do this again. If it fails you, then we'll try and do something else. Those of you at home, those of you